Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the movie Heat from 1995. If you're familiar with me, you know this is one of my favorite movies. And there's so much to talk about that I don't think we were able to get to all of it in this discussion. So I'm planning to do like a follow-up that will come out hopefully before Christmas, but if not, sometime in January, like a Heat Part 2 discussion. So if you feel like we missed something in this one, there will be a follow-up. And let me know. Let me know some angle or some aspect of it that you want to hear more about, and I'll make sure to cover that. Also, shout out to the show's sponsor, exitgroup.us. The movie Heat is all about building a crew and pulling off big things. Well, that's kind of what Exit Group is about. Go check it out. It's a good place to meet people who are doing things probably similar to what you want to be doing in life. So that's exitgroup.us. Go check it out. Now, right before we get into the show, I'm going to play the trailer that would have run in theaters in 1995. I always find it interesting to look at movies the way that they might have been perceived or marketed at the time they came out. And I think this provides an interesting glimpse. I think we take for granted that Pacino and De Niro appeared in this movie together, but at the time, it was a pretty big event, and they centered that in the marketing. So I'll play the trailer now, and then enjoy the episode. Thanks.
Now, for the first time, America's two most electrifying actors collide.
With this guy, there's one sheep you should pass.
The bank is worth the risk. You should take it down.
12.2 million.
You're up. This crew is good.
It ain't worth the risks you take. Like in risk versus reward, baby.
You're fugitive number one with a bullet.
I'm double the worst trouble you ever had. If I'm there and I gotta put you away, I won't like it. But I'll tell you, you are going down.
What if you do got me boxed in and I gotta put you down? Because no matter what, you will not get in my way. I will not hesitate for a second.
Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer in a Michael Mann film. Heat.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Granite Mountain Movie Club. Very special episode today. We're going to be talking about Heat from 1995, directed by Michael Mann. This is the film that basically is responsible for the show. And I've got Cool Frasier here. Cool Frasier, how you doing?
Cool and listening, as always.
And Cool Frasier hasn't, he's been offline a lot the last year or two. But I had to make sure he was here because this is one of the things that we initially were talking a lot about when we were, getting to know each other and talking about movies and stuff. We talked a lot about the films of Michael Mann. And Cool Frasier, did I introduce Heat to you, or had you already seen it?
So, I mean, as a movie guy of a certain age, I think I knew about Heat prior, but I just never watched it. I actually got it mixed up with Natural Born Killers a lot for some reason, which I also haven't watched. But you were the one who convinced me finally to watch it, and I was... Well, actually, I watched Thief first, and I loved that so much that I was like, oh, I should just watch Heat.
Okay. But yeah, this is sort of the formative movie of the show. And then we have a special guest today, a first-time guest. Now, I heard him doing some Heat discussion on a pod recently, and so I thought it'd be good to have him join us too. We're joined tonight by the Prudentialist, a.k.a. Matt. But Prudentialist, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and it's a real honor to be invited on. I'm what you would call a long-time listener, first-time caller, so I think this will be a lot of fun.
Oh, great. So, for reference, Now I'm going to embarrass Cool Frasier here. He did not know who you were a moment ago. He embarrassed me.
Just not by name. I knew him by his Avi. So
No,
Okay.
it's okay. When I saw Cool Frasier, I remember him from the earlier episodes, but I thought for a second that you got Frasier Payne on for this
Oh,
episode.
that guy. Yeah, he's good.
And
yeah.
I was like incredibly honored. I was like, oh, I'm going to be on with like the potential vice president of the United States. So,
Yeah.
but it's okay. It happens.
And I don't really know that guy, by the way. If Frasier Payne, I mean, I follow him. He's got like a banger every day. But if he hears this, you're welcome on anytime. But Matt, what should people know about you? You do a bunch of stuff. I've been following various types of content that you've put out over the years. But what's your thing?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Matt Williams. I'm best known as the guy with the frog avatar, the Prudentialist. I co-host a variety of podcasts. I think the biggest one right now is the Digital Archipelago with our friend Gio Panicetti. I host another one with Dimes called Do You Even Read, where we kind of cover the literature of the day, all these meme kind of books that people say that you should read. And I think it's the only pro-illiteracy podcast and the sort of thing of ours. But you'll often see my words in, The Blaze, especially in Frontier Magazine, or as the regular co-host over on the Orrin McIntyre show. So I'm kind of a little bit of everywhere: culture, commentary, movies, video games, TV. So coming on to talk about one of my favorite movies of all time is a real treat.
All right. Yes. And thank you very much for joining. So let's just jump right into it. We're talking about Heat. December 1995, 30 years ago, came out. In this episode, I'm probably going to have this coming out next week. It's probably the Monday or something, the 8th. Anyway, when you're hearing this, it is the week of Heat. It's the week that 30 years ago Heat came out. And let's see, it did pretty well. It made money. It box office 187 off of a 60 million budget. But there's something about it that I feel, and I could be totally wrong just because given my age, or maybe I just wasn't plugged in to the right conversations and I wasn't reading the right, publications or whatever, but it feels like there was a time where the movie Heat was kind of in the wilderness. Like in high school, I'm sort of an elder millennial, I guess, at this point. It's not a movie people talked about. Like people liked these type of movies, like guys that I knew liked this stuff, but I don't remember anyone really talking about it. So I didn't end up seeing it until much later, the 2010s or late 2000s probably. But I'm wondering, how did you guys come to this movie? When did you see it? When did you find it?
Yeah, I mean, I always heard rumblings of it. I think it probably had a resurgence with DVDs, right? Because, yeah, for me, I was younger then. I think I'm younger than you by a little bit. But so it wouldn't have been on my radar to go see an R-rated movie at that stage in my life. So never saw it. Parents never picked it out. But definitely heard about it as a teenager and beyond of this is the cool guy movie. And I was like, yeah, it's an old movie. Nobody cares. So yeah, for me, I kind of just passed on it just because I wasn't familiar with Michael Mann and I wasn't familiar with Heat itself. So
you had cable, right? You were a cable household.
Yeah.
So I don't think Heat was on cable. I mean, maybe it was on HBO, premium cable, but I don't think, and maybe because it was too long or something, but I don't think it was on TNT, but it seems like it should have been.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I feel like I definitely saw Ali. I'm thinking of Michael Mann movies that I saw. And then I saw Collateral and I loved that when it came out. That was when I was getting into my movie guy era, So I was
I remember everyone knew Collateral. That was interesting because the same kind of high school people who I kind of thought would have seen Heat. They never mentioned Heat, but they had seen Collateral for sure.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I feel like since I am a latecomer to the party, it's interesting to go back and watch these things and see its influences everywhere. I mean, even if you go back to Manhunter and Thief, right? These huge movies that came after it took a lot of inspiration from the ideas that Michael Mann put out.
Yeah, for sure. Matt, what about you? How did you find Heat?
Well, it was certainly not the first Michael Mann movie I had seen. The first one of his was The Last of the Mohicans. And then I think later on it was Manhunter. And I didn't see Heat until maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. I think I'm definitely the youngest person on the podcast, not to out or call anyone out, but like I'm as old as the film itself. I was born in December of 95. And so like
interesting.
my movie going experience was very different because my dad was in the army. So like TV and things like that was whatever was on AFN or Sky, television broadcasting with UK channels. So for me growing up, a lot of film was the sword and sandal epics and the entire John Wayne filmography, which has definitely painted my interest in movies and film to this day. But I think I really saw it about 5 years ago when I first started going online and writing and talking about things, because Heat really saw this resurgence, I think, with sort of the early, post vaporwave era of internet, film edits or literally me type archetype characters that people would post, because everyone loves the famous shootout scene in Los Angeles, of course, in the film that everyone gushes over, and with good reason. And so I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to go look up the film where it comes from, and found out it was a Michael Mann movie. And I was like, oh, well, then I definitely have to watch it. And so, yeah, it was probably in the midst of the pandemic. I sat down and I watched more or less all of Michael Mann's movies, and Heat just became one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, the vaporwave thing is interesting. There are a lot of, I think the Chris Shiherlis, like with the gun, is one of the most popular profile pictures, or it was for a while. I've seen hundreds of guys with that one. It's interesting. It is used partially in like edits and stuff, but it seems a little underused, really. Like I feel like there's like a lot of, not that you should go to these. Not that you should like take a movie and just strip mine it for memes, but it feels under memed. It feels like there's a lot there that people haven't been doing. I like to play around with it, and it's like I've done a few with it, and I'm always sort of like trying to be careful not to do too many because I could do them constantly.
Yeah, I have been watching some streamer guy, and he's been doing the Al Pacino Ralph scene on his stream, so it's out there. People are memeing it.
Is it Hassan Piker? Are you watching?
No.
Hassan? Yeah, I'm curious still a little bit more about this question of like why.
Yeah, the kind of the heat dearth or the heat drought.
Yeah, I mean the main things I wonder is it was just too long to adapt for TV, and maybe sometimes like a director will not play ball when it comes to like TV adaptations. And I can imagine Michael Mann being that way. They're probably like, hey, we need to cut 30 minutes or something so we can fit it more neatly into a TV schedule. And he's like, no, I'm not going to.
Well, they did do that in 1999, and they cut 40 minutes from the film to a point that Michael Mann disowned the project. They had turned the movie made for broadcast TV and commercials. They said they destroyed the plot, they destroyed the narrative. There was no point in doing it. So I mean, I think he's only done it once in 99, but I think that it's only really been more recently with I think there was a big Blu-ray release a couple of years ago. I think it was like 22 or 21. Yeah. That kind of sent it into resurgence. But I do agree. There is sort of usually there's a heat wave, but with this movie, it's a heat drought. And it's, I think, really tragic because I think this is one of Mann's best films.
Well, it's back now. It's like everyone kind of recognizes now. It has a much higher position in like the film, among film people, whatever, film community. I don't know. That sounds gay. That sounds kind of gay. But so for example, in 95,
film sales.
Yeah, film sales. In 95, it didn't get any Oscar nominations. And
yeah,
now,
I looked what came out with it. It was Jumanji.
Yeah, Jumanji.
I wonder if Jumanji has Oscar noms.
I mean, I don't think it did, but we'll just look at it real quick. Best Picture was Braveheart won.
Okay,
and then there was Apollo 13, Babe.
That was big. Apollo 13 was big.
Yeah, you expect to see that one nominated. Il Postino, The Postman, which is I believe Italian film. Sense and Sensibility. Those, and they only did 5 back then, and nowadays they do like 10 or something. But looking back, it's like obviously it should have been nominated. So it should have been nominated for Best Picture, for Best Director.
Do like action films get nominated though? I'm trying to think.
I mean, they do. I mean, Braveheart. Braveheart won, and that's
But that was a historical epic, right? Like historical epics get nominated going all the way back, right? But
well, and I think especially, I mean, now it would. Now there would be no problem to nominate an action film. But at the time, yeah, I can see there being like a genre bias where it's like, well, this is a crime thriller. We're not going to honor a crime thriller. Like that's genre fare, which Mann rejects. He says this is not that. This is more than that. Which he would say that, but I think he's right.
Well, yeah. Although the thing I noticed, and this may be part of it, is there's really nothing in this movie for women to enjoy. is a thing I've noticed. Is like I'm like trying to watch it and be like, what would my wife care about in this movie? and it's like nothing, So that being said, not plenty of guy movies have done well, but usually like the stuff that remains in popular consciousness has to be successful with like young women. They have to care.
Yeah,
about
they call it, Hollywood calls it like the quadrants. Like who you're appealing to, and Heat might be a 1-quadrant movie, just adult male.
Right. And so I think with that, like it kind of dips out of prominence in cultural history.
They didn't even get like technical nominations though, like sound or cinematography. Sound seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
With like not revolutionary, but like creative recording of the guns and all that. Anyway, it seems like they were kind of blacklisting Michael Mann, and then they made it up to him like the next year. He won Best Picture with The Insider. So
don't they sometimes do that though, where it's like if you kind of build upon past credibility, like they'll be like, all right, we owe you one now.
Yeah, all the time, like makeup calls. Yeah, they do that. They do it all the time. But I want to jump into this question of the genre thing. Like, Mann says it's not a crime thriller, or at least it's not just a crime thriller. What would you guys say it is?
I would definitely call it a character study, perhaps more than anything else. I mean, Pacino and De Niro's characters are mirror images of each other, men who have lost connection and intimacy for the sake of the game or the sake of their career. And ironically, those are the things that kind of pull them back to their humanity at the end of the film, or also kind of what they've been missing out on. I think that it's as much of a character drama as it is either a crime thriller or even an action film, for sure. I think that a lot of people, enjoy the gunfights or the crime drama or something that kind of gives it almost a neo-noir kind of feel to it, in the way that you kind of combine a cop procedural with Ocean's 11, with how they're planning things and getting the gang together. But really, this does center on the human connection, and what does that mean for a man who's more or less lost his ability to connect because of the death or because of the sake of the score.
Yeah.
To me, it's kind of like the setting is like an action crime thriller, but like I don't know if that's all it is. And actually rewatching it in prep for this, I was kind of surprised how much like just like family stuff there is, like, because it's kind of bookended by big action scenes, right? But in the middle, it's kind of like the men dealing with their family and their lives within those bookends of kind of violence and chaos. And so like a large portion of the movie is literally just like them going out to dinner and like playing with their kids and stuff like that.
Yeah. There is a cool, Frasier. You mentioned like about Braveheart. You called it like a historical epic or whatever. I think that sometimes Heat will get the epic designation,
Modern epic.
Yeah, because there's so much happening, and it is kind of weird. Sometimes when I rewatch it, and I've seen it many times at this point, you get to like the third act, and you keep remembering. Oh yeah, there's like this storyline too. Oh yeah, there's this other storyline, and it's very Los Angeles centric,
Mm-hmm.
and they it's like an L.A. epic. It's actually funny. I'm looking at the DVD case. This is like the old one. It's not like the special Blu-ray, director's final edition or whatever. I think it's the one that like was originally pressed back, when they first did it. And it says heat. And this is weird too. Under the word heat, it says tension, as if that's part of the title of the film. Like heat, tension, a Los Angeles crime saga. Oh, actually, you know what? Maybe I guess I'm looking at like a Spanish version or something. I got a weird version here.
Oh, so it
You
is
speak
tension
Spanish?
In Spanish, probably.
Is that what it is?
Probably.
That tension?
I don't know that just means tension, but yeah, like. So I think the movie. Hold on, I lost my thought. You go, Granite.
Well, I'll tell you something that's bugging me.
Okay.
I posted a take online, and I'm getting people replying to me, and I'm regretting. I saw one of them just now. Now it's like screwing me up. I hate this. I did not mean to see my phone, but I saw it, and now it's bugging me. Anyway, there's nothing more. It's like all the characters in Heat. I can bring this back. I can bring this back.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say now.
Well, wait. Let me do this.
Okay.
Hold on to it. But every guy in Heat has like an obsession or an addiction. Not every, but yeah, basically every character. And for me, that might just be like being online. Like, there's an argument. There's some people are talking about something I know something about. I need to be there. I got to be there. I'm like Vincent Hanna. I gotta be in that stupid conversation, even though it's like gonna ruin my life.
No, yeah, I actually was talking to my wife before, and I was like, "This movie is about me and Granite making podcasts."
Well, okay, this like leads. I was gonna ask what is Heat about, and I think you're hitting on something really important there. And I even wrote this like in my notes what you just said, like, or kind of why. I had a question about like why is it resonating? It resonates both in the film world, but it resonates in our sort of online scene as well. And I think part of it is it's just like it's men pursuing a project with other men that they respect, and that's actually a very hard thing to find. You work at your corporate job. It's like, but most people don't feel that about their job. They don't feel like they don't respect the people around them, or they don't necessarily. I mean, they might respect,
or they don't even care about the work they produce.
Yeah, and so it's like that's one of the very when I turn this on and I watch it, it's like you want a crew. Michael Mann talks about the Highline crew. It's like it'd be really nice to have one. Not everyone gets to have that.
Well, it's about great men. To me, like if I had to like distill it down into what it is, it's about great men, the greatest men, whether that's good or bad, right? And I have a longer thesis on what the movie is, but I'll save it for a second. But yeah.
Yeah, there's that degree of that we get to watch someone who's really good at their job show off, so to speak, or they're just that good at it. It looks like they're showing off or flexing. It's funny. I'm the youngest where I work in my office, and the woman who I'll probably end up replacing when she retires, she was explaining how it's tragic that there isn't the concept of the company man anymore, that someone would recognize you for, your years or decades of service, whether a watch or a plaque or whatever. And, I kind of relayed to her. I said, yeah, there's very little places where people want to stay. And a lot of people, as the saying goes, they'll quit managers. They won't quit jobs and things such as that matter. And with Heat, it's definitely, especially between De Niro and Al Pacino, it's just two amazing, well-competent, oiled machines, not only going against each other, but also doing what they do best, which is, solving cases as well as, getting the score. And I think that that's just something that a lot of young men, or just men in general, love to see. I think that's why when we see like a construction crew that's like really getting into it and putting something big together, people want to just stop what they're doing and watch it, because you're watching this well-oiled machine put something together, whether it be a bridge or fixing a car or whatever. And it's something that we don't get to see all that often anymore, mainly because I think we're so behind screens, but also because it's so hard for us to find something that makes us want to put the phone down. And when we can watch something that's that good, or even watch an individual and perform this, task, it's like, oh, I can put the phone down and I can be like, oh, I wish I could do that. And there's that degree of inspiration. I mean, whether it's good or bad, more morally speaking, but I mean, it's really something to watch someone put a group of people together, and also for both of their teams to have loyalty to the central character. It's so hard for someone to find that natural leadership on either side, and like, you want to find that guy. I want to find my Vincent. I want to find my Neil. I want to do all these things, and I think that's why the movie sticks out so much today, because it's about camaraderie and a group of guys working together in the midst of wives and kids, and oh, the wife's mad at me again, or we're not talking to each other right now, like I'm sleeping on the couch, but I know that I have obligations and that my team needs me.
Yeah. It's definitely large. Like, that is a big part of the appeal. There's also this thing, and if you've read I did another episode recently on the Heat 2 book, and this is further explored in the book, but there's this sense between Vincent and Neil that there's like this cosmic connection.
Mm-hmm.
It's The Dark Knight, which openly was sort of like modeled partly off of Heat. And like, I think it's the Joker who says it, he's like the unstoppable force and the immovable object. Similar thing here. It's like these two guys have this cosmic destiny that there has to be a showdown.
Right.
A lot of people, we don't, it's like, you don't, very few people have a rival, or maybe they do. You have to find them wherever you can find them. But rivals are a pretty cool thing to have, because, it focuses your efforts, and, and that's another thing I think about this, that allures a lot of guys like us.
Yeah, I think I'll do my longer version. So it's about great men, right? But you're right in the Batman Joker comparison, which, blatant, like, directly was inspired by Heat. But if you go back like through Michael Mann's filmography leading up to this, essentially all his films are dealing with the same themes, starting with even the Jericho Mile, which was his made-for-TV movie about a guy who was a really fast runner in prison. But he kind of had this fascination with criminals, right? And obviously, I don't know if we are going to bring it up, but like, he knew these people or he heard these stories about these real people, in real life, the characters that are portrayed in Heat. But like,
yeah.
And also he met in Folsom Prison the character, or the guy that the character Nate is based on, John Voight's character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so anyway, then he made Thief, which was kind of based on his conversations with prisoners at Folsom Prison when he filmed The Miracle Mile, or the Jericho Mile, wrong thing. But where essentially he was kind of surprised how studious and philosophical the criminals were, right? Like, they were reading like Buddhist works and stuff like that, and he thought that was super interesting. So then he made Thief, which is essentially like a Neil McCauley movie, right? Like it's the same character, but it's missing the other half. And then he goes on to make like Manhunter, which is essentially about the cop side of it, but it also has this kind of chaotic evil, which is embodied in Heat by Waingro, right? But so like, Heat is kind of the culmination of this idea of this like noble criminal and this like obsessed cop who's almost like destroying his own life to be the best at catching criminals. And then also this idea of the chaotic evil that exists kind of just surprisingly in the universe, kind of this cosmic destructive force, and Heat is like the culmination of all those ideas coming into one, and that's why it is like a saga or an epic, because it's really these like heavy themes and thematic characters that are representing more so ideas than actual men. And so you have like, you know, the good, you have the bad, and then you have like that chaotic evil, and it's like an opera between all those four.
This concludes the free preview. Full version available for paid subscribers of the Granite Mountain Movie Club Substack. Thank you for listening.